Hi, this will be a video about jQuery, and we'll pick up where the last video left off. Um, Normally, if you're going to do something that's going to be animated, if you can animate it with CSS, you're better off. So anytime you have something that you can animate, if you can animate it by adding or removing a class with JavaScript, then that's just enough JavaScript, right? You can use JavaScript to animate things, but it's better to leave that for CSS if possible, okay? A couple situations come up where you'd rather animate things with JavaScript, and one of those is scrolling the page. So if you want to scroll, like have a button maybe where you tap on one of these buttons and then maybe it scrolls down the page, that might be better handled with JavaScript. Okay, so how would we do that? Let's give that a try. So what I'd like to do is kind of set this up first, just to keep the videos short, right? And then we'll add some JavaScript later. So let's imagine we want to create some content on our page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create some divs here, and I'm going to make sure that I give each div an ID. Okay, so this will be our first div. Imagine that this div, it's going to be a box that takes up the entire page. And then there'll be another div that takes up the entire page, right? And another div that takes up the entire page, and another one, right? And since I'm going to style these with some, similar styles, maybe I'll give them each a class name like this, right? And they can just share the same class name, and then they'll share the same styles, okay? If we're going to scroll these elements up and down the page, the H1s right here will also scroll. Okay, so I want this area to stay in a fixed location, so everything here will scroll past it. So we'll probably want to put this in a div here. Let's do something like that and give this a class name. Let's call it I don't know, how about nav? There you go, right? Okay, and then we can apply some styles to this. Okay, so first of all, let's get these set up, right? So we'll make a class for section, and the section will be how about height 100%. Oops, did I spell that right? 100%. There we go, right? The body tag and the HTML tag by default actually collapse. They don't fill the page. So in order to get this section to be 100% the height of the page needs to be 100% height too. So we'll have to do this also. Okay, so now the body tag and the HTML tag are 100% height of the page, and then this section can fill it in, right? Okay. So every section's got an ID, and then we could give them another class name too. Probably better for styles. Why don't we make some background colors? Why don't we do? We'll just make some color classes, right? So we'll say background color. This will be red, right? Actually, maybe we should do it with letter names, right? Why don't we make this one aquamarine, right? For A. Right, and then we'll do dot. Actually, let's just copy this, right, and paste it. And then we'll change the color here. We need a B color. How about bisque? Doesn't sound like much of a color. Call that bisque, right? And then we need a C color. How about cyan? I think that's a C color. There we go, right? And then we need a D color. D color. What is a D color here? D, dark blue, dark gray, dark orange. How about that? I like that, right? And then we can take these colors and kind of apply them to each of the divs. So we'll make this one, this class will be aquamarine. This guy will be bisque. This one will be cyan. These colors are terrible. This guy will be dark orange, right? Okay, so now we got these guys. Hopefully they fill the entire page. Their divs, they'll just stack up one on top of the other, right? Let's give our page a test, right? So I think I put this over here. Open it in the browser. Oh, there's my aquamarine. There's the bisque, cyan, the orange. Okay, and then we want this thing to be a group of, kind of, these will be buttons when we're done, right? But we want this to be kind of a group that's stuck up in the upper corner while everything else scrolls. So what we need to do here is we need to style nav. So we'll say nav, you are going to be position fixed. Okay, so that means this doesn't scroll when the page scrolls. Let's give it a try. Oh, look, there it is, right? And so that guy doesn't scroll. So there we go. So that's a pretty good setup. And then what we want to do is we want to click on this. And when we click on, let's say, D, it'll scroll to dark orange. And when we click to C, it'll scroll to cyan. When we click on B, it'll go to bisque, right? Okay, so there's our setup there. Not too complicated, right? Height 100% for a section, but it requires that we set the body in HTML to height 100%. And then we just made some colors here for these background things, and then we gave the navigation thing fixed, right? Okay, so anyway, thanks for watching, and then in the next video, we'll add some JavaScript.